Good evening. In this crazy time, we have to stand together. Stay united. Put the country, its people, and our economy first. That's why Conservatives have been cooperating with the government ever since the major outbreak of the COVID-19 virus and the resulting pain and economic trouble that has come with it. It's been actually an extraordinary period of cooperation on the part of Her Majesty's loyal opposition. Just a quick recap. When the government said we need to close Parliament so as to avoid spreading germs among MPs and to allow the government to work undistracted, we took that unprecedented step and said, all right, we'll let you have your way. Then the government made numerous stumbles and bumbles. And one day they were saying that the borders were open, the next they said they should be closed. One day they said that passengers on airplanes would be screened, and the next day we found out the opposite. But we let them off without harsh criticism, thinking they deserved a little bit of slack because they had enough trouble on their minds. Then they said, we need an $80 billion package to help Canadians who are struggling with the economic consequences of this outbreak. And we said we'll support every single measure, as long as it puts money in the pockets of small businesses, of struggling families, and of consumers. We're on side. Then the government said we need to bring Parliament back, but just for 3 or 4 hours, and only with about 10% of the MPs, so that we can quickly authorize these measures and get the money out to Canadians. We said yes to that too. But I'm sorry to report that the Trudeau government has engaged in an unprecedented act of bad faith. They have presented us with a bill that they want to ram through the House of Commons tomorrow, which would give the government the ability to spend unlimited amounts of money, raise unlimited amount of taxes, and add unlimited amounts of debt over the next roughly 2 years without any approval from the Parliament. What's more, this bill would allow the finance minister to give as much money as he wants to any company or individual he chooses, again, without parliamentary approval. Let's step back for a second. For the last 800 years, our parliamentary system, which began in the fields of Runnymede in our British tradition, has required that the government cannot spend, tax, or borrow what Parliament has not approved. In other words, you cannot take what the people have not authorized. And that is why Parliament always has to approve spending. In this time of crisis, we assumed the government would act in good faith, would work with the parliamentary tools we've had all along. But with this bill, it is clear that they are not doing that they are using this crisis to carry out a power grab. Now, as soon as I found out about this, I called the finance minister's office. I told his staff that this was unacceptable. I spoke personally to Bill Morneau, and I said Conservatives cannot support these changes to add new powers to him, the Prime Minister, and their government. I told them also we would be happy to come back to Parliament tomorrow and quickly and decisively approve all the assistance for Canadians who are suffering from the COVID-19 crisis in just a few hours. Put all of your announced promises into one bill and we'll approve it right away. But we will not approve any legislation that includes this type of power grab. Furthermore, if at some point in the future you need to take more drastic measures, that is to say, if this crisis metastasizes into something much bigger, we understand that more may need to be done. You can come back to Parliament again to do it. Tell us the time, tell us the hour, we will be there to consider it and vote on. We will be there during holidays, on weekends, all night long, whatever it takes to come to the aid of Canadians in need, but we will do it in Parliament. For God's sakes, the British Parliament met in London, England, during the Nazi air raids of the British capital in World War II. Surely we can find a way to bring Parliament together in order to consider and vote on any major spending, taxing, and borrowing measures as we come through this hard time. Conservatives stand ready to continue cooperating with any Canadian, including members of the other parties, in order to get Canadians the help they need in this extraordinary time. But we will not allow a government to take advantage of the desperation of our population to amass new and unprecedented powers never before seen in our parliamentary system. People are dying. Businesses are going bankrupt. Others are losing their livelihoods and wondering how they will put food on the table. This is not a time for political power grabs. It's a time for us to come together and get things done for the Canadian people. So for those of you who are at home right now listening to this, I want you to know that under the leadership of Andrew Scheer and our entire shadow cabinet and caucus, Conservatives will come together to protect the people of this country, their freedoms, their economy, and their health. We will stand every day and do just that. And we will not let the government get away with this power grab. Thank you very much. Keep the hope alive. Stay strong. We are watching over the government on your behalf, and we will ensure that the public interest, your interest, is protected. We will get through this together. Thank you.